Welcome to Longevity Industries' presentation of the Destiny of Manufacturing podcast, a 5-year view into the future of manufacturing. I'm your host, Dean Phillips. I'd like to thank our sponsor, the Precision Metalforming Association, and the PMA's Educational Foundation for all of their great work. They do a fantastic job over there. And coincidentally, that's where my first guest here today comes from. It is David Klotz from Precision Metalforming Association, where he's the president. David, welcome.
Well, hello, Dean. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here. First off, I'd like to know, what is your key takeaway for the 5-year view of manufacturing?
Dean, I think the main focus in the next 5 years has got to be workforce development and training is a must. It's so important with as the our skills gap issue that's going on in the country. There's manufacturing jobs out there and we don't have enough workers for it. So I think in the next 5 years is developing our workforce and it's a big focus of PMAs. And myself, and that's one of the reasons why I came on board with PMA, because to drive that along with, we now have a new product called Metalforming EDU that's an online training tool for its members and non-members, and I think it's going to be it's a really great software that I think is going to be a leader in the industry to help educate and help assist our members in training new people that are coming into the industry. And the whole saying is, hey, manufacturing's cool again, and that's what we need to get our word out there to the young generation out there, that it's cool and it's clean and it's fun to do, and you can make a good living in it.
Yeah, and I think that's an area that's often overlooked, is that we do need to get that message out. It is a challenge, but we do need to do it. And I think we're, in what I've seen going through some of the colleges, and you do see a rebirth of technology and people getting excited about it with some of the cooler things like drones and with additive manufacturing. And I think that just has a natural progression to lead back into our industries of stamping and how we could take those technologies and improve on them. And please tell everybody a little bit about your background and how your technology experience has led you to where we are now at the Precision Metalforming Association.
Yeah, my background, Gene, is, I grew up in the metal stamping environment. My family had a metal stamping company in South Bend, Indiana called Metal Stamp Incorporated. And it was, did heavy gauge metal stamping, mainly for the automotive and RV industry, along with one customer, Bendix, but mainly in the RV and auto industry. But so I grew up in that. I started on the shop floor, from sweeping the floors to polishing dies. And so I really got an understanding and appreciation of the stamping industry, but also manufacturing in general. And then from there, after I graduated in college with an accounting degree in Miami, Ohio, I moved my way up to another family company that we owned called Dallas Industries, which is an associate member of PMA, and we made capital equipment for the stamping industry and made coil handling and press feeding equipment. So uncoiling the coils of steel and feeding them into the presses so we made large capital equipment from anywhere from 4 inches wide, 6 inches wide material handling to all the way up to 84-inch wide coil handling equipment of steel. So it was and I basically was there. I worked my way up and ran operations, but worked in all the different departments, worked on the shop floor, worked in engineering, purchasing, and kind of moved my way around. But I eventually ran the operations, and then I got kind of dabbled into sales and worked with the sales reps that are along the whole country that sold our Dallas feeding equipment. Then in 2006, we sold the companies, and from there, I actually made a career change into the technology side and got more on the software side. But I wanted to focus stay in manufacturing, because that's what I knew and that's where a lot of my relationships had started. But I moved into the software side with a company called Plex Systems, and that's a company that is a cloud ERP software. I wanted to kind of be on a cutting edge, so I was helping transform companies and back in 2006 and 2007, transforming them from on-premise ERP and MES systems to a cloud base and running their whole business off the internet. So that was a big challenge, but they saw the benefits, especially this owners and CFOs of instead of housing a data center and housing our information, within a cloud and access that information anywhere. And then from there, so I did sales, and then I ran a sales team at Plex. But really, our core customer base was metal stampers, plastic injection molders, but repetitive manufacturing. So I stayed in that space. And then in 2014, I moved to a company stayed in the software side of it, but to a CAD/CAM provider. And I was president of Tebis America and ran the largest subsidiary of a German-based company, again, called Tebis. And we focused in CAM software, but we did CAD, we did reverse engineering, but focused in the tool and die industry, mold industry, and aerospace. And then just recently moved over to PMA, now about 3 weeks into it now.
Great. Well, I'm sure it's great to have you on board over there at the Precision Metal Forming Association, and with all your experience, especially on the technology side. It's something that, as everybody who's in stamping knows, that when you look at all the industries, stamping has been the slowest probably to adapt to newer technology, partially because of the tooling lends itself to high volume and very reactive, as opposed to short run things that are more modular. And for that reason, I think a lot of times we have ignored the technology side. But would you say now that our direction is more technology based for our industry?
I do feel like, because most of our members aren't just stamping now. I mean, they can't really stay in business by just making stamping and shipping it. Most of them now are doing so much value added to the product, and they're bringing automated systems in and really bringing technology to the shop floor to, maybe it's an overlay of a plastic material over that part, or they're doing much more value added, and they're providing their customers much more of a better product to their customers. And so, technology is needed. And so visual systems on the floor, automated, recording and production, and recording production and moving parts from one, cell to another. I've seen it from my, moving around to different companies. I've seen it on the shop floor where, especially the last 5, 8, 10 years, it's really been really picked up this the technology focus for that. And I think now with especially with the analytics that we were talking earlier about it, now that's so important. And so now owners of companies and management can, they can pull so much more data out. Now with a lot of the software that's available, they can pull this data out. They can put applications on the presses and the equipment so they can see failure issues immediately. So they're getting a lot of data now to decide to make decisions much faster than they had before.
Yeah, and with a lot of the data, it's created some new opportunities for us to really live in the space of the industrial Internet of Things, Factory 4.0 mentality. What are some of the opportunities you see, say, 5 years down the road, for that information to lead us into better decisions when it comes to responding to new industries like the autonomous vehicle and along that line?
Well, I think, with a lot of this information, obviously, with the demand with autonomous vehicles, it's going to be interesting. There's going to be more cars on the road, but also maybe the demand of personal vehicles, it might be less. So it's going to be it's interesting, going to be a balance out there. But there's so much now technology in these vehicles now. But analyzing the data, some of our customers have to provide obviously quality of parts and checking those quality parts before they go out is a must and key before they ship it, because those failures can't happen out there when the product's out there on the road. And so their demands from our members, customers are going to be even more so in the next coming years. So that's why the technology side is so important for members to use that data, analyze it, but then find where there's issues that are on the floor a lot sooner, and so they ship quality parts up to their customers.
How does our education try and keep up with that? Because I think that's a very difficult aspect of the workforce development, is getting that next level of people trained, because you can't just bring in people. And I think that's one of the challenges we have, is we can say we're going to respond to workforce development, we're going to train workers more, but what does that look like, and what is PMA doing to respond to that?
Yeah, so PMA, as I mentioned, I think workforce development is one of the key initiatives in the next 5 years in training. And, one of our focuses, we just brought in a new director of workforce development, Stacey Schroeder. And she brings a lot of industry knowledge, and from large companies down to another small association that they're all been in the manufacturing space. So she's going to bring a lot of good ideas, that she's going to really develop programs to help our members that are in different areas of the country for workforce development. But she's also going to be leading our one of our best products right now that we've made a huge investment on, called Metalforming EDU, and this is an online training software that has over 500 classes available to them. In the past, all our training material was more on video cassettes and DVDs, and now we've made that transition, and now we're moving things onto online. So we have PMA specific content, and then we have other content that goes into basic math classes. Onboarding new employees. So what's going to be helpful for the member, for our members and potential non-members, to look at this is, they've got access to classes that they can basically, if they're bringing somebody on, but they're not sure what their capability is for these new people that are entering in the workforce, they can take an engineering class or a basic math class to see where they're at level-wise. So down to that, and then all the way to OSHA, and then, as I mentioned, PMA-specific classes that are related to the press industry, so they can educate them on, what do you call an upper and lower die, and what's the difference in a servo press or a progressive and press. So a lot of different, or transfer press, a lot of those things they can gain that knowledge. And then what's nice about it, they can do it from home, they can do it online, and everything's recorded, and supervisors can see those results. So I think PMA's focus on this workforce development is key. And with the lack of technical schools and high schools, cut a lot of those programs. And I think I've seen it with my past company. We've seen an uptick in the more of the technical schools. There are some still good ones, but I think it's key that we've got to help those technical schools and be another arm for our members with this education software. So we think it's going to be a huge success. People that have seen it have loved what they've seen so far, and are really excited about the new content that we'll be bringing out over the next coming years. Great.
With a lot of the turnover that we've seen in not just in our industry, but in all industries in general, it really has put a lot of stress on HR people. Do you think that this assessment and evaluation will help them on the front end to determine, hey, are we really bringing in the right person?
We hope so. Yes, it's going to be another tool for them. I know some HR managers are struggling because they bring in some people and then they only usually keep a certain percentage of those people that come in. So hopefully we can they can what's nice about it, since it's online, they can extend this to the temp agency that they maybe work with.
Oh,
And so because a lot of our members, bring this into, go through temp agencies because they bring these people on and they want to see if they're going to develop. And this way they can get them, in front on the front end and have the temp agency have them access the software through the company's login, and people can access that. And then that can, the early stage, even before they come in for those interview processes, the temp agency can kind of screen them a little bit. But that's the hope, that we can now be, all our customers have a kind of onboarding training, practice, and obviously some of our larger ones have a more detailed training program. And what we're hoping Metalforming EDU will be now a standard or part of that training process moving forward.
great. That's good. That's good to hear. And I think that a lot of people will see this as a new opportunity for them to make that assessment earlier on, and getting it out into the temp agencies makes their life a lot easier, and having that as an option will really help.
Yeah, and we've just really launched the application, and it's only been really live for really the last 6 months. So it's really new to the members, and so we're making a big effort with Stacy and the rest of the team that's focusing on Metalforming EDU. We're getting out to the PMA districts, and we're doing presentations to the districts. And so you get in front of the members. We're going to be doing webinars to educate them, more of the members. We have our annual meeting next week that we're going to be doing a presentation, and we also have a nice video that shows the Metalforming EDU and the benefits. A short little video that's going to be great for social media. So the marketing arm of it is now starting to pick up. And then as I go out there, I'm going to be demoing the software. I have no problems with that. And so when I'm out there visiting prospects and new, potential new members, I'll open my laptop and show them a demo of the software. Because I think it's very important, and we really want PMA to kind of be a leader in this area. And again, and also working with other associations and partner with them, and how we can, access, have their members look at Metalforming EDU as another platform to help them, assist them for, workforce development as well. It's going to be a key as well. Because, we can't do it all. We can't do it all by ourselves. Having partnerships and working with other associations that are in the manufacturing space is key to do this together.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I think that we don't want to try and reinvent the wheel, and I think across our industries we need to share that information a little bit better. Tell me about where you think in the next 5 years we're going to be going technology-wise within the industry, as far as automation goes, and how that's going to impact us.
Yeah, I think on the technology side, I think it's with those more and more people we have a lot of some of our members that are focused on automation, that are automation companies that they help build automation cells for members. So obviously members are going to be looking at trying to alleviate some cost of a process that can be done by technology wise, either by a robot or a visual system. So I think some of the technologies that are out there that's going to be key is, trying to automate and eliminate maybe one of the processes, one of those process steps in the process routing. If they can try to eliminate that and make it more air-free and eliminate any mistakes there, that's going to be key. I've also seen some great visual systems out there that, I've seen ERP and MES systems, integrate with some of these visual systems. So, how where they have to place that part or in that assembly. And if it's a wrong place, it'll let them know, notify them. Also, if they're putting something in a press brake, it'll line up where it needs to be. And so try to eliminate any errors there. So technology is going to continue being forefront and then on the analytics side, as we mentioned, is grabbing that data, measuring if there's issues with the press or equipment that you can do preventative maintenance on there in advance. So those machines continue to keep up and running on a regular basis, because as we know, if they go down, then that loses production. And so technology side will be a key on that side as well. So there's so many companies now doing machine monitoring and grabbing data off of there to help educate members. And so there's some really good, associate members that we have on board, and others that are out there that are doing tremendously great amount of work with companies that are monitoring and doing analytics on their equipment.
Sure, it's something that I guess it's kind of that an educated manufacturer is our best customer sort of approach there, because the more you know, the better decisions you can make, the better asset allocation, whether it's in money, whether it's in time, your training, and even doing evaluations of how successful your training programs are. Where do you think overall the PMA is heading in a different direction with adding like Metalforming EDU and things like that? How much does that add in value in the eyes of some of the members?
Well, we feel it's going to be a huge importance for our members. I still think one of the biggest benefits of PMA is the engagement side, and it's another key point is we still need to engage in members. The members that are engaged with other members, they see the value of it. They can share ideas, and one of the some of the big successes that we have is these executive networking groups. So we have multiple executive networking groups, all the way from the next gen group all the way up to multiple CEO executive groups, and we also have mid-manager executive groups. That engagement is huge, where they can go and share ideas and be in an open area that they can, they not have to worry about competition and information, but they can really share ideas. And then, if they've got concerns or an issue, that they can go to people and their peers and ask for help or assistance. And I think those have been huge success. So I think the engagement side is still important for us, and still one of the key drivers that we see PMA, continue. How that engagement happens, various ways, again, meetings and coming all together. But I think, moving forward, we're going to be doing, obviously more webinars, and we're going to be doing webinars now with the Metalforming EDU. But, as everyone is busy, and now with all this analytic data they have to analyze, everyone's busy now, but we still need to keep engagement. And so I think the type of engagement is going to change, slowly over the next 5 years of, more technology-wise, and going to be more video conferencing and just now webinars. You're going to see the person that's presenting, and let's be more interactive. But I think the engagement's key for PMA. But Metalforming EDU is another. And again, it's so important to us that our education foundation donated. Gave us a big donation to put towards Metalforming EDU, along with PMA's investment in Metalforming EDU, and now we're developing a team around it. And so we've done surveys. Our customer service has been great, but as now we get more users, we've got to look at the organization and how does that look, because we're going to need more people to assist on helping with technical questions that come up with Metalforming EDU, and we're going to have to solve, get that for our members. So, but Metalforming EDU is going to be a huge focus, and it's going to be a strategic goal. I mean, some of the things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to lay out a strategic plan for PMA for the next 3 and 5 years. And, there's going to be drivers in that, and we're going to be looking at membership. I think key is, the membership, getting your members is important, but retaining those members and engaging them. Our membership team and task force, we've got a big initiative. We've got a membership task force, and we're going to be engaging with our new members on a quarterly basis. And then me reaching even out to those new members, having a conversation with them. But we've got a process in place that we're going to engage those new members over the year while they're members, and make sure they're attending meetings. Because I think the benefit of people, as they go back to the engagement, when they come to meetings and get engaged, they see the value of PMA. But the strategic plan is very important, and we're going on my goal. I've done other strategic plans in the past, and the plan is to lay out a 3-year and 5-year plan. And key areas are going to be membership, workforce development, and Metalform EDU. Our Metalform magazine is going to be another key point. And then organization-wise, the organization-wise could look different 5 years from now. With the technology ways, maybe more people working, from home and stuff like that. It's going to be an interesting thing, but we're the strategic goals. I think we just need to be more, focused and lay out some goals, and everyone's going to be measured in those different departments on strategic, and they're going to have more specific goals in each department, and we're going to monitor those on a regular basis.
Excellent. We're just about out of time here, David, but I did want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, especially just getting up to speed. I'm sure it's like drinking from the fire hose, but I really do appreciate you taking time and everything that you do up there at the Precision Metalforming Association. Thank you. I
appreciate it, Dean. I want to let everyone know that I have a passion again for manufacturing. I'm really excited about being for PMA, and I really appreciate what the members and associate members do for the association, and what my experience is being a manufacturer and then being an associate member. I can help bring value, and I can stress to associate members how the value of working with members and the value of selling to its members and networking is important. And so I'm excited to be on board. I'm excited about our forming our future event next week down in Texas, San Antonio, Texas, and I'm looking forward to seeing the members and I hope I can lead the association like Bill Gaskin did over the 20-some years that Bill led the association. I'm looking forward to doing it for PMA, and I'm looking forward to leading the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
That's terrific, David. Thank you so much, sir, and we look forward to amazing things from you. Thank you.
Thanks, Dean.
Thank you, and this has been the Destiny of Manufacturing podcast, and we really appreciate our sponsors at the Precision Metalforming Association and the PMA's Educational Foundation for all of their great work. Everybody have a great day.